Everything about our brand is about accessibility and enjoying all of your life, not just saving it for weekends or your vacation or your retirement.
A tidal wave of worry has hit the kitchen queen we thought was unstoppable. Rachael Ray, the upbeat chef whose smile could light up any room, is staring down the fight of her life. Her husband, musician and lawyer John Cusimano, is bracing for goodbye neither of them ever imagined. Doctors have delivered news so grim it rattled even their closest friends. Yet in the middle of this nightmare, John clings to every shared second as if time itself might snap at any moment. What on earth led to such heartbreak? Stay close. We are pulling back the curtain right now. But the story grows even more shocking when you see how it threatens the heart of Rachael's empire. For more than 20 years, she has filled homes with quick recipes, contagious laughter, and pure sunshine. Through TV shows, cookbooks, and nonstop charity events, Rachael made dinner feel like a party anyone could join. Millions felt as if she were a trusted friend, waving them into her cozy kitchen with open arms. Her giggle became a beacon of good vibes. Yet behind that glowing grin lives a reality most fans never suspected. Even with a marriage that looked rock solid, Rachael was hiding a private storm that shook her foundation. She and John had always seemed unbreakable, sharing every triumph and every heartbreak side by side. Their bond became a symbol of hope in the chaotic world of fame. But while cameras rolled, Rachael was quietly wrestling a medical nightmare that threatened everything they had built. Then the bombshell dropped. Doctor confirmed a life-changing illness that hit like a punch to the gut. Friends were stunned. Viewers were speechless. And John's steady hands turned into her anchor in a raging sea. Their adventure, food, and fun suddenly morphed into a battle for strength and survival. Each sunrise now brings new hurdles and deeper thoughts about love and endurance. Fans who watched her bounce around the studio keep asking, how could someone so vibrant face something so brutal? Behind closed doors, the cost is clear. John moves room to room, ready for whatever the next test brings. Their devotion is being forged in fire they never expected. For Rachael, this is no ordinary chapter. It is a fight for every breath. Her journey now reaches beyond sizzling pans and sweet smells. It is about grit, faith, and refuse and surrender. But what drove Rachael to climb so high before the storm hit? Buckle up! The path from tiny hometown to global stardom is packed with gasping twists. One constant in that rise has always been John. Through thick and thin, they have stuck together like glue. Long before spotlights and studio kitchens, Rachael's roots ran deep in small-town soil. She was born on August 25, 1968, in Glens Falls, New York, where family gatherings revolve around big trays of homemade food. Her mom, proud of her Sicilian blood, poured culture and flavor into every pot. The kitchen was Rachael's playground. Pans hissed, knives chopped, and laughter bounced off the walls. Food was not just eaten, it was celebrated. For young Rachael, that joy felt like destiny calling. When the family shifted to Lake George, the passion only grew. The tourist town became home to several family-run restaurants that buzzed from dawn to late night. These spots were more than places to grab a bite. They were community living rooms. Neighbors shared stories. Travelers caught their breath, and aromas wrapped everyone in comfort. From an early age, Rachael wiped tables, greeted guests, and learned how food could unite strangers. While classmates hung at the mall, she was mastering customer care and the art of flavor. After finishing Lake George Jr., senior high school, Rachael chased bigger dreams in New York City. She joined Macy's candy counter and tackled retail at full speed. Her spark was impossible to miss. Managers quickly moved her to the gourmet food section, where rare cheeses and fancy oils widened her culinary map. But the city's grind soon felt suffocating. Something inside whispered her true path needed more heart, more connection, and more room to breathe. That whisper sent her back north, where she crafted the 30-minute meals demos that would change her life. Crowds gasped as she flipped, chopped, and plated dishes faster than most people could order takeout. Television scouts could not look away. Soon Rachael was on air, turning quick suppers into a worldwide sensation. Her laugh, her speed, her no-fuss tricks, viewers could not get enough. Yet while the spotlight grew brighter, so did the hidden weight of her health battle. The diagnosis she now faces threatens to dim the spirit that lifted millions. Still, Rachael refuses to bow. She greets each dawn with courage, leaning on John, on family, and on fans who cheered her every step. The fight is fierce, but her heart is fiercer. Back in upstate New York, she took a job at a gourmet shop, where she whipped up meal kits that busy shoppers could finish fast. Crowds grew so large that a local news station invited her to demonstrate live on air. Food Network noticed the spark. One pilot turned into a hit show, then a daytime talk show, and soon an entire line of cookware flew off shelves. Rachael had become a true household name. During this rise, she met John at a friend's birthday party. They bonded over music and late-night pasta, then wed on a Tuscan hilltop 5 years later. From that moment, they faced every adventure as a team. John mixed cocktails on her show, cheered her on tours, and guarded her peace when schedules grew wild. Their rhythm felt unbreakable, until the diagnosis halted everything. Yet even in hospital halls, they share playlists, trade jokes, and dream about rescuing more shelter pups. Rachael still funnels book profits to food education, pet rescue, and disaster relief. Giving is in her DNA. Doctors have launched aggressive treatments, but the outcome remains hazy. Friends pray, co-hosts fill in, and fans blanket her pages with love. Through it all, she keeps posting quick kitchen clips, whisk in hand, promise in her voice. "We'll beat this together," she says, and millions believe her. Tomorrow is unwritten, but hope is sizzling on the stove. Stay tuned. The next twist could drop at any moment. A fierce tug of nostalgia yanked Rachael Ray out of the New York rat race and back toward the comfort of her roots. She walked away from Macy's without a backward glance, convinced that selling truffles and tea sets was never going to feed her soul. The city lights still dazzled, yet her heart ached with the crackle of cast iron skillets and the chatter of family around a table. That craving sent her sprinting to Agata and Valentina, a luxury market where the air smelled of imported olives, goat cheese, and just-baked bread. Day after day, she lugged 50-pound produce crates, trimmed herbs the size of her forearm, and swapped recipe tips with shoppers hunting for dinner inspiration. Each slice of prosciutto and every fragrant basil leaf reignited the spark that first pushed her into a kitchen as a kid, reminding her that food was love in physical form. What happened next changed everything again. In 1996, Rachael packed her bags for the postcard-perfect town of Lake George and marched into the glamorous Sagamore Resort, this time as a boss rather than a helper. She fused city-sharpened speed with hometown warmth, commanding fine dining rooms, buzzing pubs, and catering events so fancy they served oysters on ice sculptures. Yet a constant complaint echoed to the dining hall. Cooking at home is impossible. Determined to blast that fear to pieces, she created lightning-fast lessons that promised dinner on the table in 30 minutes flat. No culinary degree required. Locals lined up, notebooks ready, astonished as Rachael transformed everyday groceries into mouth-watering feasts before their eyes. Word raced beyond the resort walls until WRGB called with an irresistible offer. Step onto live television and show the entire region how easy supper could be. The moment that red light blinked on, her joyful grin, mile-a-minute chatter, and budget-friendly tips hooked viewers from the Adirondacks to Albany. Small community segments exploded into a phenomenon, but the very next twist was even bigger. Rachael's leap from small-town teacher to global superstar is the stuff of kitchen legend. By the late 1990s, her 30-minute meals demos were flashing through living rooms, rescuing weary parents who were sick of greasy takeout. Food Network executives smelled a ravenous audience and handed her a full series, a decision that would write her future in neon. When the show premiered in 2001, it rocketed to #1, smashing the myth that only gourmet chefs deserved screen time. Over 27 adrenaline-packed seasons, she flipped, seared, and cracked jokes, turning pots and pans into pop culture icons and making home cooking feel like a block party anyone could join. But the excitement only grew. In 2006, Rachael rolled out her daytime talk show, Rachael Ray, blending celebrity gossip, life hacks, home makeovers, and lightning-fast plates into one unstoppable hour. Audiences gobbled it up, showering her with daytime Emmy trophies that gleamed like polished copper skillets. That whirlwind year kept spinning. She launched Every Day with Rachael Ray, a magazine stuffed with cheap and cheerful recipes, pet stories, DIY decor, and slices of her own life that felt as cozy as a handwritten letter from a friend. For more than 10 years, the glossy pages sat on coffee tables nationwide, teaching readers how to stretch a single roast chicken into 3 dinners and decorate a kitchen on a shoestring. Even after the final issue rolled off presses in 2019, the brand's influence lingered like the smell of warm cookies, showing just how deeply her practical pep had seeped into American life. Rachael's ambition kept blazing hotter. In 2008, she dove into pet food with Nutrish, inspired by her rescue dog, Isabel, and built on real meat, not mystery fillers. Every penny of profit raced straight to animal shelters, turning shoppers into heroes for 4-legged friends and proving that business can still have a beating heart. Projects wrapped, but her momentum never stalled. When 30-minute meals signed off in 2012, she simply shifted gears, expanding cookware lines, spice blends, and frozen entrees that packed supermarket aisles. Her grit shone brightest during the 2020 lockdowns when she hauled camera gear into her upstate cabin, lighting shoots with desk lamps and balancing laptops on soup cans. Viewers felt the walls melt away as they watched her juggle burnt pans, barking dogs, and supply shortages, bonded with her raw, unedited life while the world outside stood still. By 2021, she was streaming live classes on social media, proving she could pivot faster than a whisk spinning in batter. The giving never stopped. In 2022, she sent convoys of aid to disaster zones, stocked food banks, and kept Nutrish funneling millions to rescues. Now in 2024, Rachael Ray remains a powerhouse, rolling out new gadgets, partnering with online grocers, and sprinkling that trademark laugh across every screen she touches. But wait! The secret to this empire's heartbeat is her husband, and his story rocks just as hard. John Cusimano, the quiet force at her side, brims with talent that stretches far beyond a title, Mr. Rachael Ray. Born on August 19, 1967, the Queen's native mastered scales on guitar and footnotes in a law textbook with equal fury. After high school, he conquered Benjamin N. Cardozo School of Law, zeroing in on entertainment contracts, so he could shield creative minds from legal landmines. His sharp suits walked him backstage into the pulsing world of rock venues, record studios, and indie film sets, letting him combine invoices with amplifier feedback daily. Yet music kept roaring louder. In the early 2000s, he founded a gritty rock outfit named The Cringe, grabbed the mic, and shredded through dive bars until sweat dripped from the ceiling. The band cut 4 albums, toured coast to coast, and even opened for legends like Motorhead and New York Dolls, a mind-blowing win for any indie crew. Balancing courtroom deadlines with midnight gigs demanded caffeine, leather jackets, and relentless drive, but John never dropped a single dream. His universe expanded even more when he married Rachael on a Tuscan hilltop, trading tiny practice rooms for TV studios and red carpet premieres. Viewers now spot him on her shows mixing custom cocktails, strumming acoustic riffs, or cracking jokes that send her into fits of laughter. Together, they're a power duo powered by food, music, kindness, and an unstoppable belief that every challenge can be flipped like a pancake. John's artistic spark ignited behind the bar. He stunned audiences as a mixologist with bold cocktail creations that tasted like magic in a glass. Each shake of the shaker let him share another side of himself, connecting with viewers beyond the courtroom or the concert stage. Yet for all his public triumphs, John guarded his private world fiercely. He never chased headlines. He let his law work, his music, and his TV moments speak for him. That quiet confidence made him a figure of true depth, a man defined by passion rather than applause. But now the hidden struggles behind their perfect image come into view. Stay tuned to uncover the storms that have rocked their lives. The bright lights of Rachael's career conceal shadows of controversy. Behind her warm smile and speedy recipes lies a trail of rumors, heartbreak, and scandal few suspect. Today we rip away the curtain to reveal infidelity whispers, violent encounters, and family tragedies that tested her spirit like never before. Their fairy tale wedding in 2005 felt solid as stone. They pledged love at a Tuscan castle, promising each other forever under the Italian sky. Yet in 2013, a shockwave hit. A Florida woman charged that John paid for a company and crossed lines nobody imagined. Rumors of more affairs followed like vultures circling a feast. Headlines devoured every allegation, leaving fans to wonder if their rock-steady bond could survive such betrayal. But Rachael refused to falter. She stood by John, eyes blazing with loyalty, insisting she knew his every move at night. Together they denied the madness of gossip, holding their heads high and vowing love would conquer every lie. Yet heartbreak struck again before fame ever touched her name. In late 1990s, Queen's Rachael lived a quiet life until darkness struck her apartment foyer. One night, an attacker burst in. Armed with mace, she fended him off, only for him to return days later and drag her into an alley. He put a gun to her head, changing her life forever. Terrified and shaken, she fled Manhattan and raced back to her Adirondack home for safety and sanity. At the Sagamore Resort, she found healing in the kitchen. Managing fine dining rooms by day, she offered cooking lessons that would spark 30-minute meals fame. That nightmare of violence steered her toward the career that would define her destiny. But tragedy kept knocking. In November 2013, Rachael's beloved Aunt Geraldine Scuderi froze to death outside Rachael's Lake Luzerne home. Locked out in brutal cold, Geraldine tried to break a window, then collapsed and slipped away in the night. Guilt and grief shredded the family. Some blamed Rachael for no spare key, and her absence at the funeral fanned the flames of anger. Still, Rachael buried the pain, redirecting herself into work and compassion in the face of loss. Even as her star ascended, the phantom of that night haunted her steps, reminding her that success could never heal every wound. Now we turn to Rachael's secret weapon, her unmistakable voice. It crackles with energy, pulls viewers in, and turns cooking into theater. But the voice you hear was forged in struggle. As a child, she battled croup, leaving her vocal cords scarred by endless barking coughs. Doctors warned her away from caffeine and asked her practice throat exercises, but strain followed her like a shadow. On set, she sometimes lost her voice for days, forcing producers to scramble and fans to wonder if the worst had come true. Then in 2008, a wildfire of rumors exploded. Tabloids screamed that she faced throat cancer, that surgery or radiation might steal her gift forever. Viewers gasped as her world teetered on the edge of silence. Yet through every assault on her body, on her heart, and on her image, Rachael refused to go mute. She healed, she fought, and she emerged stronger, her voice a battle cry for anyone who has ever felt broken. This is the truth behind Rachael Ray's rise and the storms she has weathered. Through scandal, violence, family loss, and health scares, she stands unbowed. Her journey proves that behind every shining star lies a story of grit, sacrifice, and unstoppable hope. According to one anonymous insider, doctors have found cancer cells, and that set off a wave of pure panic. Fans feared they might never hear Rachael Ray's joyful laugh or comforting voice again. Speculation exploded across the internet, and the media raced to get the truth before it was too late. But then relief. The frightening headlines turned out to be false. Yes, Rachael needed surgery, but it wasn't cancer. Her spokesperson stepped in to calm the chaos, explaining that she had developed a benign cyst on her vocal cords. It required a minor outpatient procedure, routine, not risky. The surgery came and went with barely a ripple. She took only a short break before jumping right back into her Food Network shows and her daytime talk series, Rachael Ray, without skipping a beat. In December 2008, she had the operation and bounced back almost instantly. The scare had been real, but it didn't slow her down for long. That unmistakable voice, full of warmth and energy, returned stronger than ever, reminding fans of the fierce resilience behind her smile. But through it all, one person never left her side. John Cusimano, her husband and greatest source of strength, was there through every moment. His loyalty became her lifeline. Now, years later, it seems Rachael needs that strength more than ever. What happened? Let's take a look at the diagnosis that changed everything. The unexpected diagnosis. Rachael Ray's life had always looked unstoppable. TV shows, best-selling books, her own product lines, and endless charity work. She was everywhere. But quietly, something wasn't right. For months, Rachael had been feeling off. At first, she blamed the long workdays, the filming schedules, the pressure to always be on. That kind of exhaustion was part of the job, right? She shrugged it off and pushed ahead. That's who she was. But the tiredness turned into something heavier. Her energy didn't come back after rest. Her hands, so steady in the kitchen, began to feel stiff. Her voice sometimes faded mid-sentence. Still, she kept working, kept smiling, kept going. She didn't want anyone to worry. But John noticed. He watched her struggle with simple tasks. Her sparkle had dimmed. And even when she said she was fine, he could see it. Something was wrong. He gently urged her to see a doctor. She hesitated. There was always so much to do. But John didn't let up. He knew. Eventually, she agreed. She thought the doctor would blame stress or maybe a lack of vitamins. But the test results said otherwise. Behind the fatigue and fading voice was something far more serious. The exact diagnosis wasn't made public, but close friends whisper about something life-threatening, the kind of condition that makes everything stop. It felt like the ground had crumbled beneath them. For someone who built an entire career on energy and drive, the news hit like a tidal wave. The cameras, the shows, the recipes, none of that mattered now. All that mattered was survival. Together, Rachael and John began to rethink everything. Their once carefully planned future now felt uncertain. Every moment became more meaningful. Every decision held more weight. Their nearly 20-year love story was suddenly being rewritten. John became her shield, her voice, her anchor. He stayed strong so she could focus on healing. He protected her peace and gave her space to breathe. Their bond, already powerful, deepened even more. And while Rachael quietly fought to stay strong, John began making quiet preparations of his own. Something he hadn't shared yet. Was it his final gift to her? A farewell gesture? Let's find out. A love-tested John Cusimano silent goodbye. Their love story began in Italy in 2001, where fate brought them together. The same place where years later they said, "I do," surrounded by breathtaking hills and the people they loved most. Italy became their sacred space, their annual retreat, and the backdrop of a romance Rachael once called unbreakable. She often described John as more than a husband. He was her best friend, her rock, the one who stood by her through everything. John had his own success too, fronting the band The Cringe, practicing entertainment law, and creating a world of his own. But through it all, he never stopped showing up for Rachael. From surprise appearances on her show to quiet moments off camera, their connection was always clear. They weren't just a couple, they were a team. But nothing could prepare them for the storm that came with Rachael's diagnosis. It shook everything they'd built. Those closest to the couple started noticing subtle changes in John. He wasn't saying goodbye out loud, but his actions began to shift. He held her a little longer. He watched her more closely. He wasn't giving up, he was preparing. Quietly, softly, they retreated to their peaceful lake house in upstate New York, a place Rachael always called her sanctuary. Here they cooked, they laughed, they remembered, they held on. Rachael, ever the fighter, leaned into what mattered, her husband, her family, and the little joys that made each day worth living. Her friends admired her courage. She smiled through the pain. She kept going. But John, he carried the weight in silence. His face gave away the worry he wouldn't speak. He didn't want to lose her. Not now. Not ever. But in the quiet moments, the pauses between conversations, the long stares across the kitchen table, those close to him could feel it. He was starting to say goodbye. Rachael, always protective of her fans, kept the details of her illness private. She didn't want pity. She wanted people to remember the joy she brought. And they did. Her fans flooded her with prayers, messages, and love. But for John, none of it could ease the ache of watching the woman he loved suffer. He stood tall beside her, but his heart was breaking behind the scenes. Their love is a powerful reminder of what it means to stand by someone, even when you're falling apart inside. But now, as John quietly braces for what may come next, how will their story truly end? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you felt the emotion in their journey, don't forget to like and subscribe.